Are you hustling because you're trusting God's provision, or are you hustling because you don't believe that he'll come through for you? If hustle was the answer, every entrepreneur will be winning. Let's be real. Grinding without strategy just leads to burnout. Welcome to Maven Talk, where we break down real, actionable business strategies that drive real results. I'm Sammy B, a digital marketing expert, fractional CMO, and brand strategist with over 15 years of experience, helping more than 350 brands grow, scale, and thrive. Here, we talk about what it really takes to build a brand, create impact, and make money without the chaos. No fluff, no gimmicks, just proven strategies and hard-earned lessons. Ready to level up? Let's get into it if we're going to get into it. Today, we're going to talk about how I'm the problem, okay? We're talking about hustle culture. It's trending where you're doing the absolute most to get ahead, to build your brand, to build your business. And it's taking a lot of us out. I recently saw an article where a young lady, she was a chef, and she had worked all the time. And I think her last tweet or last message was something along the lines of, I'm tired, I'm taking a break, I'm shutting down, I'm going to take a nap. And she never woke up from that nap. And, that hit me. That hit me because I don't think we realize how much or how hard we're working ourselves to literally death. I understand that there's a season where you have to be hustling, where you have to be working hard. And it calls for you to be not sleeping as much as you want to do, or taking on more engagements or more projects, because that's the season you're in. But it's also about learning how to have balance even in those seasons, right? Because you're not able to serve yourself well. You're not able to serve others if you're always tired, always running from place to place. In my case, always late because I always have something to do, or I've overbooked myself, or I've overcommitted because of the fear of losing momentum or losing out on the opportunity. I used to wear this hustle culture, this not sleeping, not eating as a badge of honor. A friend of mine asked, well, how did you get this way, or what influenced you to be like that? And it's really just myself. It's really me, the standards I have for myself, the business and brand that I'm trying to build. Those are the things that have me tied up into the hustle culture. And so today I just want to talk about what that looks like for me, how I'm working through it. I'm actively working through it. I'm not going to sit here and act like I figured it all out. I've solved the issue, and now I'm just balanced and living the soft life. I'm still trying to get there. I think we all are. I think we all want to live the soft life, or we all want to have a lot of balance in our business. But honestly, I'm just not there yet. The main thing I can even say to you and myself is that what's for you is going to be for you. And that opportunity is really supposed to be something that you're supposed to take and do. It's going to come back. It's going to be there when you get done, or even a greater or bigger one is going to be there. I started this business in 2019. I was still working a corporate job. So I was working a regular 8 to 5, maybe 9 to 5. And I was working my business before I went to work. And then when I got off from work and made it home from my commute, I would start back on my business. And so there would be times where I may get up at maybe 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, try to get a workout in, try to work on my business some, and then get to work. At the time I was living up north, outside of Chicago. I would say Chicago because that's the most familiar and biggest city, but I know how y'all get when people start saying they from Chicago, but they lived in the burbs. So I was in the North Burbs and I would commute and travel to work. So I had about a 45-minute commute. So I would get up, go to work. I'm like, being real, I was probably working on my business while at work. I was a marketing manager at a corporation, but I don't know, it was very easy to me, and so I was able to kind of do a little bit of my own thing and show up for work, and then get off from work, head back home, and I'm back working. I'm on the grind. And so that's really where it started, because I was just doing what I had to do to make this work, right? And then once I was laid off, after COVID, I moved back to Dallas. A lot of things changed. The company restructured. And so my position, along with many others, were affected, and we were laid off. And so Then I just went full time into my business. I never went back to corporate, never thought about going back, and praise the Lord, I haven't had to. Although this year it tested me. I started, considering, should I get a job, because it's been the first 6 months of this year, I think a lot of business owners can attest that it's been a very rough start to the year, and things were just weird with the new administration, DEI rollbacks, all the things, especially if you're bootstrapping your business and you're getting it out the mud. You probably saw some different types of challenges. So it translated my hustle culture and just being used to working like that, because I was doing it in corporate, into my business. And so I still was getting up 4 o'clock in the morning, maybe going to bed 11, 12 o'clock at night. No exaggeration. There were some times where I didn't even go to sleep. I would just be up all night, shower, brush my teeth, maybe comb my hair and hop on my calls or do whatever I needed to do. Not eating, definitely not hitting the gym. That's something I've always been a gym girl throughout the years, and I've maintained a certain aesthetic, a certain size, So, but over the past couple years, the hustle culture of it all, the busyness of it all, I'm the heaviest I've ever been, just to be transparent and be real with you. I've had some health issues in regards to my cholesterol and other health indicators. When I went to the doctor, one of my clients, the Black Heart Association, go follow them, check them out. They do free heart health screenings. And so they did a screening on me. Some of my levels were alarming, went to the doctor, they confirmed it. And they're like, if you don't get it together, you're going to be on medication or worse, right? So it's like, I allowed the hustle of it all, the busyness of it all, to actually take me out of habits that I had for years. And now I'm on a totally different side, and it's all new to me, right? I was wearing the hustle culture, being busy all the time, being booked all the time as a badge of honor, which is great. It's nice to be in demand. It's nice that people want to book you. It's nice that people want to work with you. But it's also somewhat of a red flag if you feel overwhelmed, if you feel like things are extra hard for you, or you're not eating, you're not sleeping, because how can you really serve people well when you're tired? I know for me, I get agitated. My temperament is all like, I'm ready to snap. And it's not because someone's done something to me. It's because I'm hungry, okay? It's because I'm hungry. It's because I'm sleepy. It's because I have 50 people asking me for things. Thank you for sending me all these reels in my DMs and all these things to look at, but I'm on social media for my clients, to run my business. So sometimes I miss those things, or I'm extremely late, or I may not even see what my friends are doing, not because I don't care or because I'm disengaged, but simply because I'm busy. I'm working, trying to make it happen. But that's not good for maintaining relationships, right? Because when the business, whether the business is here or not, your relationships, your friends, your community is what matters. So when you're getting to a point where you can't even sustain your relationships, you can't even respond to people, it's another red flag that you are doing entirely too much. And the worst part of it all is you may be doing all of this, not sleeping, not eating, risking your health, working around the clock to just barely be making ends meet. If you even making the ends meet, if you're constantly working around the clock, especially if you have a team, like that should have been a major red flag for me. It's like, how do you have 14 people working for you, but you're still having to work this many hours? Something's not right about that. It don't even sound logical. Like, how are you working 12, 15 plus hours a day and you have 14 people working for you? So that's a red flag just in itself. And what I came to realize is I had this big team, but I also had a lot of behavior issues, if you will, right? To where people aren't following the guidelines. I have SOPs, standard operating procedures. I have systems in place. I have all these things in place, but yet I'm still having people turn things in late. Another reason why I'm up all night. I'm in this hustle culture. And it also can affect your relationships with your clients and the people that you serve. If you're in business, it's a lot easier to retain and bring back folks that you've worked with in the past than to go out and constantly be acquiring new business. Your cost of your customer acquisition costs goes down significantly when it's repeat business, or it's referrals, or it's word of mouth. But when you have team members or people that you're trying to delegate things to and they're not operating in excellence, or they're not turning things in on time, it ultimately affects those relationships that you are trying to build with your clientele. And all of these things lead to being caught up in the hustle culture and not being able to rest and not being able to even keep your expenses down when you don't have the right team. And so the hustle culture piece of it comes in to where when you know you don't have the right team members, you know you're not, like, I know, like if you do marketing or you have a small business, you know, funnels, automations, those things that kind of help you to get tasks done more efficiently, that's important. I was so busy hustling, trying to get the business, trying to make it happen. I'm taking on jobs from the team members I've already hired and paid to do, not implementing the right systems and putting things in place that will actually make my life easier, not making the time to do it, and actually being proud to say, well, I don't have time to set up my automations, or I don't have time to do this and that. What? Like, that doesn't even make sense to even think and operate that way. But when you're caught up in hustle culture, you're just thinking about, I got to get it done. Nobody else can do it like me. I'm just going to make it happen manually, when that's not smart. That's not the way to scale. That's not the way to grow. And that's definitely not the way to maintain and sustain clientele and relationships. You don't just need a website. You need a website that works. You don't just need social media. You need a strategy that turns followers into customers. That's where Digital Marketing Maven comes in. We build custom strategies that match your business goals, from SEO-driven websites and email marketing to branding that sets you apart. If you're tired of piecing things together and want a clear, data-driven plan that actually makes you money, it's time to work with the experts. Go to digimarketingmaven.com and let's create your custom strategy today. So while you think you're making it all happen and you think you're bossing up, you're grinding, what you really are doing is operating in dysfunction, glorified dysfunction. It may look on the outside good. That was me for a long time. But on the inside, you are literally crumbling. So I want to talk a little bit more about, like, how we get here. What is hustle culture about? Like, how do we get here? I know for a lot of people, it's social media and, oh, I'll sleep when I die, and different little colloquialisms that we hear people say and we repeat because it sound good, from rap songs. Mind you, they may be running a business, but they're trapping. That's a different life they talking about. They're not talking about running a legitimate business. And I know for me, I think I'm a rapper low key. So I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm Young Jeezy, I'm Jay-Z, you know, feeling like that's motivation for me. And it is in some aspects, but for the most part, they talking about two different things, okay, than what we're doing and what they were doing. So I think sometimes the hustle culture comes literally from the culture and literally from social media and things like that. And I would say for me, it's more of a trauma response. I'm a first generation college student. I went to college. I worked my way through school. I worked in banking forever, and I didn't do my internships in marketing and all the things because I was focused on, you know, something just hit me. Maybe my hustle culture started a long time ago. Earlier, I said that it started when I was in corporate work, building this business while working. But now, as I was getting ready to say, well, I had to work all throughout college, and I did. I worked all 4 years. Sometimes I had multiple jobs and going to school as a student, being involved in different clubs and organizations. So maybe my hustle culture really started a long time ago. I'm gonna have to talk to my therapist about that. But truly, you know, going to school and needing to make ends meet, needing to eat, needing a vehicle, needing clothes, all those things, you know, I had to work. I just had to take care of myself. No one, I realized at 18 years old, no one was coming to save me. No one was coming to make it happen for me. So I had to make it happen for myself. And I went through many ups and downs. I've had an eviction before. I've had a car repossession before. Okay. I've had a lot of things that happened to me while I was trying to make it happen. And I think now how it translates is that can't happen again. I cannot get evicted. I do not want to live under the bridge. I cannot lose my vehicle. I have to make payroll. I have to show up for these events. I have to show up for my clients. And so now it's more of a trauma response because I still Although I have more community and I have more resources now, there's still something in me that is like, no one's coming to save you, which it is true. I mean, it is up to each one of us individually to work hard and make it happen for ourselves, because we're the only ones responsible. But we cannot allow that to drive us in the ground, drive us to our grave, to allow us to not have balance in our lives. I see myself as a generational curse breaker, as someone who's going to set a standard and to be an example for other young women and men who see themselves in me, and just to let them know that it can be done. Where you came from, your upbringing, all those things, that has nothing to do with who you choose to become. Statistically, based on my background and some of the things I endured and went through, there's no reason for me to be where I am today. Statistically, I should be somewhere else doing something totally different based on my background. But here I am before you today, and I don't think it's all because of hustle culture. Because if hustling was gonna get me to where I needed to be, I would already be there. I do feel like it's God's grace. I do feel like it's favor. I do feel like it's just something within me that pushes me and drives me forward. But then there's also finding balance in that, and knowing that although you can hustle, you know how to grind and you're not afraid to, but there's still glory and honor and taking rest and honoring yourself. I think it's easy to allow your business or your brand to become an idol where you're worshiping it. And not to say like you're bowing down and, you're creating a statue to your business or anything like that, but it becomes an idol when you're prioritizing it over your faith. You're prioritizing it over your health. You're prioritizing it over your relationships. That's when it, to me, becomes an idol. And I can say that is something that I am working through and working my way out of, that fear of failure, and that the hustle culture of it all, turning my business into an idol. So you have to ask yourself a question. Are you hustling because you're trusting God's provision, or are you hustling because you don't believe that he'll come through for you? That's something only you can answer. That's something I have to reflect on and think about, because the truth of the matter is, for how my business has grown year over year and how fast we've grown, 20% of small businesses fail within 2 years, and almost 50% fail within 5. And for me to still be sitting here 6 years later, that says a lot. That's not easy. It may seem easy because we're not actually talking about the struggles and the behind the scenes of it all. But the truth is that's actually quite hard and not something that is common. So just that alone should give you and me the faith that it takes to continue on, to know that God's going to take care of our needs and to supply our needs and to help us to move forward, because there is no way I'm doing this on my own. I don't know what I'm doing half the time. I'm figuring it out. I think any CEO, any business owner is telling you that they're figuring it out. And the moment you think you have it figured out, it's a new level. It's a new opportunity. It's a new circumstance, something else that you have to figure out and learn how to navigate and how to manage. And I'm talking through a lot of this. It's actually good therapy for me to be talking through this and talking about it out loud, because I have kept a lot of this in, and I don't have the time to talk or like get out and just randomly talk about this stuff with people. And there's also, it could be some shame, some judgment, especially from people who don't understand. Because if you try to have this conversation sometimes with your friends who are in corporate or that are not business owners, they think it's so easy to fix it. They're like, oh, just hire some more people. Just go buy this, go do that. Okay, I don't have the money. Okay, I don't want to get too preachy. Okay, but I do love the Lord. Okay, Jesus is my homie. Okay, and I make it a point to, even in the times and the days I may forget to eat, I may not make it to the gym, but I do try to read my Bible. I actually have it with me. My mentor Nicole bought this for me. I was actually in corporate when she bought it, and it is toe up. But I would be sad to let it go. But it is toe up. Because it has traveled with me across states. And this is really like, if I have to attribute anything like for my success and how I've been able to sustain, it's really the word. And because there's so much wisdom here, there's nothing new under the sun. There's something applicable to your situation, to any situation in the word. And so I don't want to get too preachy on this, because I'm not a perfect person. I still have a long way to go. Okay. The Lord is working on me. Okay. But my heart is this is where my heart is. And this is how I keep going. And one thing I, was reading and wanted to reflect on and to share with you guys, just think about it. God created the earth, created the world in 7 days, and he rested. He took a day to rest and reflect. It's God. Why do you think he did that? I think it was to show us an example of what it looks like to take time to rest and reflect and to look at what you've done. Because also, if you're not taking the time to rest and reflect, then how do you have time to see what's working and what's not? How do you have time to be creative? How do you have the time to really just sit back and even take in your accomplishments? I'm also guilty of that. Like, I've done some amazing things. I've won grants. I've won pitch competitions. I've been featured in different articles, and all kinds of things have happened that have been amazing, but it's right back to it for me every single time. Rarely do I take the time to sit back and reflect and really think about how amazing some of these things are. I think some of the accomplishments get belittled because it's like, well, I still got 10 problems to solve, or I still have X, Y, and Z to do. So I just want to encourage us all to just take the time, do your work, find the balance that you need, but also make sure that you're taking time to rest and reflect. Another one of my favorite things to think about when I'm trying to think about balance and examples from the Bible is Jesus, right? If you read through the Gospels, he was never in a rush to get anywhere. He was never in a rush to do anything. Even when his friends came and they're like, oh, such and such is dying, we need you to come. Lazarus, his best friend, is dying. Please come. We need you. He wasn't even in a rush then. He was never in a rush because he took his time, took in the journey. And I, again, feel like it's another example of how we should operate as humans, right? Never being in a rush, taking our time, getting there, and it will serve you better. And I can think about so many times where I've had so much anxiety, rushing, ripping and running, trying to get somewhere. And then by the time I get there, I can't even enjoy it. It's no longer an enjoyable experience, or I can't even come through in the way that I wanted to, or the way I envisioned or imagined it, because I've spent so much time rushing and being in the hustle and bustle of it all. And the last thing I want to say on this is resting really is an act of faith. And all it takes is faith the size of a mustard seed, right? But it is an act of faith to take rest, because sometimes I'm like, okay, I have 50 things to do. I have all these deliverables, all these things I need to work on. And when am I going to get it done if I'm asleep? When am I going to get it done if I'm at the gym? When am I going to get it done if I'm taking a nap? When am I going to get it done if I'm eating? And that is so toxic. That is actually a toxic way to think about yourself, to think about your business, to even run your business, to think that you're not worthy of resting or worthy of getting some sleep. Because trust me, if you make yourself sick and end up in the hospital or unable to perform, those same people that you're rushing to get to or to please or to make it happen for them, they may or may not be there in those moments. Only you are responsible for taking your rest and getting what you need so that you can come back with a clear mind and you can perform at the highest standards. Just remember, if you're not living well, if you're not rested, you're not able to pour into others, you're not able to serve, and you're definitely not living up to the standards and the quality of life that God has for you. I don't want to ever end a podcast or just talk about all the things of what's wrong and why we shouldn't do this. I also want to talk about some practical things of like how to overcome the hustle culture, how to bring yourself out of it. I want you to come along on this journey with me of coming out of the hustle culture and moving more into a balanced life and a balanced lifestyle and a balanced business. So the number one thing is understanding the difference between diligence and dysfunction. It's two different things. They can appear the same, right? Because you can feel like, oh, I'm working hard, I'm getting it done. But if you're doing it in a way that's causing you stress, that's causing you not to rest, great, you got 50 things done on your to-do list, but at the end of the day, you're tired. You haven't ate. You're self-sacrificing. You first have to start there and find awareness and figure out how you can do things better, more efficiently. Like we talked about, maybe there's finding the right team members or individuals that you can delegate to. Maybe it's exploring different systems and processes and automations and using AI. I mean, let me tell you, ChatGPT, that's my bestie boo. We locked in, okay? Like, I have been able to find so many tips and strategies and things through using ChatGPT to help me become a more efficient and productive business owner. So you may say, well, I don't know what to ask it or I don't know what to do. Start with that. Go to your ChatGPT and just tell it, hey, this is my business, or whatever AI you're using. This is my business. This is what I'm doing. Here are some of my tasks. What are some ideas of some tasks that I can automate? What are some ideas of some tasks that I should delegate? Or what's a more efficient way to do this? Help me set up some standard operating procedures. That is the beauty of technology. It's a little weird at times, with ChatGPT and how all the AI and all the videos and all the content that can be produced without you actually even being there. Like, okay, that's kind of crazy. But the beauty of it is we now have a lot of tools and resources at our fingertips that we now can access a lot easier. It has made a lot of things more accessible. It has leveled the playing field in a lot of ways, that you can leverage it in order to grow your business, to sustain your business, and more importantly, to run an efficient business. You can even go so far as to putting in your numbers to see, what actually do I need to be doing, or how do I budget better? Like, you know what I mean? So that I can afford to delegate, so that I can afford this system. ChatGPT, your different AI tools can help you to get there so that you can work these things out faster so that you can exit the hustle culture. Also, it takes a lot of awareness and knowing that more hustling or hustling harder is not growing smarter, right? So all of these things require awareness for you to then go out and take action to figure out what it is that you need to do to get out of the rat race and to get out of this cycle. So here's a few things additionally outside of finding systems, processes, and delegating. Something that I'm trying to get back to. I used to be so good at this, and I kind of fell off after I became a full-time business owner, and that's having a morning routine. So you need to figure out what that morning routine is for you. For me, mine includes, number one, drinking some water, right? We wake up dehydrated. It just helps your brain to function a little bit better, but wake up, drink some water. Don't get on your cell phone, because it's nothing worse than getting on your phone and seeing that it's $0 in your account. Or waking up and seeing that a client is complaining, or realizing somebody didn't turn something in on time. So that's already set your day up for failure, because you're instantly in a bad mood, pissed off really, before you even had an opportunity to get your day going. So start with drinking some water, reading your word, meditating, whatever that looks like for you. Moving your body. I'm naming things, but this is really my morning routine, my dream morning routine that I'm getting back into. And so that's waking up, drinking some water, reading my word, exercising, and then checking my emails. Well, after exercising, we want to eat, right? We want to make sure we eat. So this does require me to get up a little bit earlier. I'm still needing to get up 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. But that's simply so that I can get my day started, so that I can get all of these things done before 8, 9 o'clock. And I have meetings, I have calls and things of that nature, because by the time the calls start, the meetings start, you're not going to have time to go back or you may not even feel like trying to work out later in the day, or you may not get an opportunity to eat breakfast. So if you start with a solid morning routine, whatever that looks like for you, that will help you to break out of the hustle culture. And that's just the act of resilience right there, to just not pick up the cell phone and start answering emails and giving yourself time to wake up and be grateful for a new day, another day that you're able to wake up and do what you love to do. But when you wake up and you're instantly on your phone, instantly on social media, instantly watching the news, all of those things kind of distract you or set your day up to not be as great as it could be. And last but not least, I keep going back to the delegation piece of it all and finding the right people, because you can't build a business by yourself. You don't grow to 7 figures. You don't have a multi-million-dollar business by just you. I mean, there are probably some anomalies out there, or some people who have done it, but it's rare. More often than not, you're going to need a team. You're going to need the right people around you, and you're going to have people that you can trust and who understand the vision. I cannot stress how important this is to your journey as a business owner. No one can do it all alone. Not even just from a physical and mental sense of like getting the work done, but also you don't know everything, period. I don't know everything. I know a lot about some things. I know a little bit about this. I know a little bit about that, but I'm not the best equipped to be the CFO or the financial manager of the business. I don't know every single thing or all the ins and out of operations. I have a pretty good understanding and a solid foundation. But when you bring in people who can do your marketing, who can work on your operations, who can handle HR, who can handle the financials, who, all these different areas that you need to bring your business together, you will grow faster. So don't be afraid to spend a little money and to invest into your business, because the more you do that, the more you'll grow, and the more you'll be able to step out of hustle culture, have balance, and actually get some rest, because you're not trying to wear 50,000 hats. If you take nothing else from what I'm saying or from what we talked about today, the main thing is just remembering to prioritize yourself. Put yourself first above the business and above all these other things, because without you, none of this can happen, right? Without you feeling rested, you're not giving your best. You're not showing up in the best way. So prioritize yourself. Every day may look different. You may not be able to pull off the perfect morning routine every day, but the goal is to get 1% better every day. Maybe tomorrow you're able to just get up, meditate, read your word, whatever that looks like, and then you get to work. Okay, maybe in a week you're able to get up, meditate, read your word, and exercise. Remember to take your vitamins, etc. One thing that my therapist said to me, she was like, don't put the pressure on yourself to get it right every single day and to be perfect every single day. It's not possible. The only thing we can really focus on doing is just being a little bit better today than we were yesterday, and to try really hard to prioritize ourselves and to not get too caught up in what other people's expectations are of us or what we see other people doing. I stay off social media for real. I get on, I may see things as I'm posting or looking up things for clients, but I really try not to pay too much attention to what other people are doing, because you don't know what it's taking for them to do the things that they're doing. Their life in the background may be totally different than yours. While you out here getting it out the mud and bootstrapping, they may have an investor. They may have a team of 20. They may have so many things that you just may not have the access to. So comparison really is a thief of joy. Comparison really will keep you from going further, and it will keep you caught up in hustle culture, trying to keep up with the Joneses and keeping up with what other people are doing. So if you're listening to this and you feel called out, don't feel guilty. Don't feel bad about it. Just know that this is your sign to take this and do better. Do better than me. Do better than you yesterday. Help yourself to get to the next level by just prioritizing yourself, coming out of the hustle culture loop, and having a more balanced business and a more balanced life. Hustle culture is not a virtue. Rest isn't weakness. It's a divine principle. When we trust God's design, we work smarter, we live fuller, and we impact more. So I want you to think about this as we come to a close. What's one thing you can do to be 1% better tomorrow than you were today? That's it for today's episode of Maven Talk. Thank you for tuning in. Remember, rest is essential. Success isn't just about hustle, and you are more than your productivity. Until next time, stay balanced, stay intentional, and keep on winning. That's a wrap for today's episode of Maven Talk, where we keep it real about business, branding, and scaling the smart way. If today's conversation hit home, do me a favor, subscribe, leave a review, share this episode with a fellow entrepreneur who needs to hear it. Want to take your business to the next level? Check out Maven University for free resources to help you work smarter, not harder, or schedule a brand consultation to become our next success story. And remember, hustle without strategy is just chaos. See you next time. Mama Maven Talk.